Chapter 2, Why Bank? So let's take a closer look at the bank personality sales training system. First, let's all start off on the common belief that there are 4 personality types available. Now, this has been proven in all of the psychological upper level programs in human studies and behaviors. Now, in general, based on the 4 personality types, your dominant one represents one of the 4, or in other words, 25%. What you don't represent is the 75%, and that is where the huge breakthrough existed for me. I realized as a sales professional that I would connect with people and use sales scripts and words and feelings and emotions that were my dominant feelings and emotions or sales scripts that worked for me. And what I didn't realize is that I was not connecting with the other 3 out of 4 personality types eye to eye. See, when I realized that, I realized I was missing out on 75% of my sales simply based on the fact that I couldn't connect or directly relate to the other personality types. And if I could simply learn to speak their language, then I would dramatically increase my ability to sell. So I began studying personality types, and as a matter of fact, I went through several other different programs. For example, many of you may have heard of the DISC program or the Keirsey-Myers-Briggs program. There's a lot of great ones out there, and each of them were fascinating in their own way. However, they each came with a challenge. 2 challenges, as a matter of fact. Number 1, because they were really complicated, I couldn't figure out how to monetize it and turn the information into money into my pocketbook. And number 2, I couldn't figure out how to easily and readily adopt it into my downlines to train and transfer those skill sets. And what I needed to find was a program that was very easy to use, simple to understand, intuitive to learn when the needs arose, and very easy to be duplicated in my downline organization. Because I couldn't find any other programs that existed, I simply created my own. And what I ended up creating is called Bank, the Personality Sales Training System, where you can crack the personality code and take it to the bank. Now let me ask you, have you ever been guilty of potentially using the wrong script, right? You call it vomiting all over people, turning them off, saying too much, not piquing their interest, possibly saying the wrong thing? Has it ever felt like you've been speaking a foreign language when introducing your product, your service, or your opportunity? Well, if that's the case, this is an exact reason why to use the Bank Personality Sales Training System. You're not alone. Almost every sales professional goes through the same exact thing. Now, this being said, let's use an analogy of foreign languages. Let's say that there are 4 foreign languages: English, French, German, and Korean. And let's say that I'm at a networking event and my dominant language is English, and I encounter someone who speaks French fluently and does not speak English. If I were trying to network with them or trying to close a sale with them, trying to recruit them onto my sales team, and I'm speaking English and they're speaking French, what experience do you think we would have? We most likely wouldn't close the sale because we wouldn't be able to connect. And the reason is because I'm not speaking their language. What if instead I approach them in English, I immediately discover that they're French, and I simply switch my brain to pull out the French files in my mind and start speaking French? I use French scripts, and I say, bonjour, je m'appelle Chérie, enchanté. And I start all of a sudden having a conversation in French. Now, when I speak French to a French person, they light up because I'm communicating. This is exactly how using a personality sales training system is going to work for you in sales scripts. See, here's the concept. Let me give you a quick analogy. Let's say that we have a bird, and I'm going to tell you birds like worms. I like chocolate. Birds don't like chocolate. Birds like worms. Well, what does that have to do with anything? It's quite simple. Many of us in sales, instead of feeding the birds worms, we try to cram chocolate down their throat. Or if you're a human, instead of feeding you chocolate, we shove worms down your throat. And that's what creates an unfortunate sales experience, ending up without closing the transaction. See, when you learn to adopt and embrace the Bank Personality Sales Training System. It'll be an experience very much like learning the Rosetta Stone for human behavior. And once you know the scripts to give people to close your sales, closing the product, selling the dream, selling the system, you'll be able to dramatically increase your sales ratios by up to 300% because of your ability to connect with the other 3 categories out of the 4 that represent the dominant personality types of which you are not. Now you'll notice that the word bank is actually an acronym, BANK. The B stands for blueprint, A stands for action, N stands for nurturing, and K stands for knowledge. You'll also notice that each of those 4 letters represent a color. B, blueprint, is blue. A for action is red. N for nurturing is yellow. And K for knowledge is green. This makes up the Bank Personality Sales Training System. When you learn that each of the 4 personality types uses different scripts, just like we just talked about, you'll become very powerful at actually using the right scripts at the right time with the right people. And that's why you can experience extreme success. Now, why the bank training is important. As you apply the 4 personality types and use the correct scripts, you'll be able to connect faster with your clients and prospects. You'll be able to overcome objections with ease. You'll be able to sell more product, recruit more distributors. You'll demonstrate charisma and influence every time you speak, even if it's just in a small meeting or a large audience. You'll be able to learn to leverage the strengths of your team because your team is made up of all 4 personality types. And of course, this will empower you to achieve extreme results. Once you master the Bank Personality Sales Training System, you will be able to crack that personality code and take it to the bank.